So, when they said to Joshua to compass, and you shall compass the city. All right? All ye men of war. We noted that men of war were supposed to do the compassing, because even though they are going to compass the city, it is a city that has constitution. It's not the wall necessarily that they were compassing. If it was just to compass the wall, maybe anybody can compass the wall, but they were to compass the city. There is a certain level of strength and vigor. This we dealt with all of that, isn't it? That this is a military action, even if the part that is visible to you does not appear military. Remember? This whole formation is led by a functionary that identified and that introduced himself as captain of the hosts of the Lord. If you are going to be part of the movement, if you are going to be part of the host that this captain leads, you cannot be civilian. Right? Because what the man did that appeared to Joshua was basically to tell Joshua, hey, take your place. And your place is not right in front. Your place is somewhere behind. Because as captain, I am now come. Before that day, Joshua would be captain. After that day, Joshua was no longer captain, because the army, the full scope of the army has now been unveiled to let Joshua know that there is a ground formation and there is the air unit. Hello? The same way you have in any whatever formation. You have artillery, you have, the ground troops, you have different departments, right? So what happened here was the man shows up, and of course we know it's the Lord himself, and he says, as captain of the host of the Lord am I now come. And he comes with a sword that was drawn. So even though Joshua and his guys did not have, they were supposed to be shouting and using trumpet and using the ark, they were not the only ones involved in that procession. Everybody in that procession was supposed to be military, because this is a military exercise. Even if the part of the exercise that you get to see may not appear totally militarized. You may only have seen people moving around the wall. That's not all. This is just one department of the army. And what they are doing is part of their military duties. This is a military formation led by the captain of the hosts of the Lord. And I remember, I think, saying to you that this is where the Lord of hosts designation of God starts to make sense. Or this is where it helps you make a lot of sense. Because the Lord of hosts designation of the Lord, of God, is his military designation. Okay? There is a way you say, our Father who is in heaven. There is a side of God that you are trying to invoke when you are doing that. And there is a side of God that you are trying to invoke when you say, oh, Lord of hosts. At least if you know what you are doing. Is that okay? The Lord of hosts designation of God becomes more interesting in the places where God himself is the one talking about himself.